So you probably figured out by now that the key to making more money in the hair industry is actually to specialize. But there's a lot of concerns that kind of come up with doing this. Like, isn't that kind of like putting all my eggs in one basket? Like, what if the trends change? Where will I be if that happens, if all I'm doing is specializing? Or another question is, am I gonna get bored? Like, if I'm just doing the same thing all the time, like, will that really inspire me? Will that make me excited to keep going to work every day? Or one of the most difficult things is, how can I actually turn away paying clients just because I am now specializing? So in this video, I thought I would share with you why I personally decided to specialize in lived-in color specifically, and I want to tell you what that did for my career in case you are thinking of specializing as well. And we're going to address all the fears that you might have around doing this, because I actually think this is a really good idea. I know some of those concerns could be concerning, but I actually think it's a really good idea to specialize. It did so much for me, so let's get into it right now in this video. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Lauren, and I just love to help hairstylists grow their career, build their confidence with their technical skills, and just their ability to market themselves. So if that's something that you're interested in doing this year, would you hit the like button and let's get started. So actually, when I first started doing hair, I considered myself a cutting specialist. Like, I would just kind of put out there that I am a cutting specialist. And to be honest, it was kind of a way for me to basically cover up the fact that I didn't really feel confident doing color, because honestly, a lot of color clients were really picky. I felt like I could never really formulate properly, or I never felt confident formulating. And so I just kind of put out there that, okay, I'm a cutting specialist, because that was something I felt like was way more predictable, something that I could master a little bit easier than color. So I basically, decided that I would rather do 3 haircuts than take 1 color client, because I was so anxious about doing color. But I did realize something that made me kind of change my thinking a little bit, and that was that I didn't really enjoy taking clients back to back to back all the time. It was really exhausting for me, and just like switching, because like every time you get a new client, you kind of have to mold to their vibe and their energy a little bit, and that's kind of exhausting sometimes. So like taking that many clients and how many you had to book of haircuts in order to make a lot of money in one day just started to really drain me a little bit. So that was kind of my first sign that maybe I could be doing something different. When I realized that just doing haircuts and gray coverage and just kind of simple traditional services all day long wasn't really fulfilling to me, then I was kind of stuck, because I wasn't doing any like custom like specialty colors because I was too nervous to do it. But now I also didn't really enjoy doing all the cuts and traditional service either. And this is kind of a hard idea to accept for me at the time, because my entire life I wanted to do hair. And if I wasn't enjoying this that much, if I was feeling like way too exhausted, I was feeling like the money just wasn't really worth it. I wasn't seeing how I could actually make good money in this industry and make money that I was actually proud of. I actually went to college before I went to hair school. So I had this idea in my head that, well, because I have a college degree, I should be able to make even more money. I don't know why. It's kind of ridiculous. But I just kind of have this idea in my head of what my career would look like. And, I thought that it should look really good considering I had a college degree. So it was a little bit of a blow to my ego, if you will, that I could only make like $30,000, and I was working so hard every single day, all day long. I was exhausted. I did have a handful of clients that I did really enjoy working on and I really loved. And that was something that obviously kept me going. But to be honest, like even at a really high-end salon, a majority of the clients were kind of difficult and just not always really pleasant. And that can really put a strain on your motivation and your self-confidence. And I was definitely feeling that. They wouldn't show up to their appointments, or they would schedule and I'd think, oh good, my books are full. And then I'd get like 4 no-shows in a week. Just stuff like that. It's just like over and over and over again. And, everybody says that's the industry standard, but I don't really like to accept things like that because, it sucks. Like, why should I have to deal with this in my career? And maybe you're feeling like that too. Let me know in the comments if you're kind of in this place right now. So what changed? Well, I started to notice that balayage became really popular, and I thought it was so pretty. First of all, just the way that it was applied, it just felt so artistic and fun to actually do, like freehand painting. But also I loved the results. It was so natural, so pretty. and it was just so like sun-kissed, and I was really drawn to balayage. So I started to push my focus into doing like, still doing the haircuts and traditional services, but then also trying to build my skill level in doing balayage because I was just really enjoying it. And for a time, this worked really well. A lot of people were requesting balayage. It was something that basically they were seeing everywhere and hearing everywhere. I remember people always like pronouncing it wrong and stuff, but this was something that was super popular at the time. So I'm like, okay, this is a really good thing to get into, and I enjoy it. What could be better than that? But then I started to notice something. People were bringing inspiration photos, and I felt like I couldn't get those results. And it was really frustrating to me. Like, there's a picture of these results and it says balayage, but how come like when I do it, I can't get those results? Do I just suck at this? Am I just like not really that good or something? And so I looked at different balayage classes, but even then, I didn't notice that they were able to get the results either. They were teaching different techniques, but they weren't really teaching me how to nail these inspiration photos that everybody was bringing in. So then I just sort of made a shift in my mindset around like what a typical service should look like. And instead of just trying to fit a balayage appointment in like a 2-hour typical color appointment, I started taking models and just trying to figure out, okay, like if I had all the time I actually needed, what results can I actually achieve? And this is when it all changed for me. So I might be spending 3 to 5 hours on an appointment, but I was finally able to achieve those end results that looked really similar to the inspiration photos that people were actually giving to me. So, and I realized this was the key. Like if I could actually do work like the photos that they are seeing online, which they think are just kind of unattainable, maybe they'll show it to their hairstylist and they could do a few things to make their hair look a little bit closer to that. But if I could actually nail these inspiration photos, it would be a game changer, right? So once I actually felt that pride and satisfaction of actually being able to nail looks from A to B, it took me longer, but I didn't really concern myself with that too much. If it takes longer, but you actually get the result that you want, like that's a win. You know what I mean? And I realized through that freehand painting isn't always what is going to get you those blended results. Now, I know that like a lot of you probably know that today, but back when I was doing it like 12 years ago maybe, people were just, that's all that was in their mind was like balayage. So how do I create these looks doing balayage? So I realized that I could, mix a bunch of different techniques in order to get the results that I was seeing in those inspiration photos. And once I figured that out, I was kind of hooked. Like I wanted to practice this all the time because it was actually fun, making me feel good about the work that I was doing. Traditional services didn't always make me feel that way. So that was the first step in me realizing like, well, maybe I should consider specializing in this. And one thing that was really exciting too is a lot of people, obviously they were bringing in inspiration photos, but a lot of people were really excited about these types of bigger transformations, lots of brightness and blonde in one appointment, or just lots of change in one appointment. A lot of people were really excited about natural blended results like this. So the demand was really high for it. As soon as I started working on models and just kind of practicing it all the time and just started like putting it out on my Instagram, a lot of people started to request me for that specific look. Super blended transformations, and all of a sudden it kind of pushed out all my availability for those traditional services. So I almost started specializing as just kind of happenstance, and because I was getting such a high demand for those higher paying and more transformational services. And this was amazing to me. I couldn't believe it, starting from someone who was not really confident with color, who just kind of wanted to stay in the haircut lane because it just felt a little bit more safe to me. This was a huge deal for me. So I want to share with you right now too exactly how my career changed once I started to take that leap and just like really dive into something that I was really passionate about. And I will say passion is key. You have to be passionate about the thing that you are specializing in. But I want to share with you exactly what it did in my career, because I think that it's really going to inspire you and maybe motivate you to think about specializing. So the first thing is, because these transformations took a while, I only was able to see maybe 2 to 3 clients in a day. But this is okay because those clients, they realized the value in what I was giving them and they paid double or triple the prices. Now this was really amazing because of the fact that they were willing to spend a little bit longer time and spend a little bit more money, well, a lot more money, because they were so invested in getting that end result. So now I didn't have to market to thousands of people just to try to get a few hundred clients to fill my books. And half those clients don't come back, have to try to rebook them, blah, blah, blah. But now I just had a lot less clients that I had to manage, and it took a lot less clients for me to be busy and fully booked. And the crazy thing is taking these less clients, I actually made way more money. Like I was making $30,000 a year doing haircuts all day long, doing gray coverage all day long. And when I switched to, developing that skill and getting good at it and then starting to charge for it, then I was able to finally get to 6 figures and working way less and just actually really enjoying what I was doing. Now, one of the other reasons why this changed my career, and actually it made me want to keep doing it, because I know a lot of you probably feel like this too, but after a while of just being kind of beat down by the industry, you start to feel like, well, maybe this isn't the right career for me. Like, why can't I stay busy all the time? Why can't I consistently stay booked? Like, why am I not enjoying this that much? But the thing about lived-in clients is you are doing such a detailed custom service for them that they become very excited to come to their appointments. Appointments then are not just like something like a grooming appointment where it's like, oh, gotta get my gray coverage done, gotta go see my stylist. It's kind of like a take it or leave it service. It's not something that gets really excited to come in, but something like a custom transformation that gets them to the exact end result that they have in their mind. That's something that gets clients really excited to come in. They have no problem paying more. They actually show up to their appointments because of the excitement around what they are getting. And that was one of the main things for me that made me want to keep doing it and made me want to specialize in it. If I can make people actually really happy, like change their lives with each appointment, that is what I was looking for when I first started this industry. Not to just be simply doing maintenance appointments all the time and like people are just like, cool, thank you. Yeah, I'll see you next time. People are like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How did you do this? And that feeling, like almost every single client, like you can imagine, they're not going to no-show their appointments. They're not going to, price bargain with you. They are not going to kind of reschedule on you all the time. Like they appreciate you and they want to make sure they are a good client for you. Honestly, they really like to try to be a good client for you. And it's just a great relationship when you're able to make someone that happy. So that I think is the biggest change it did for me. Like, yes, I was making 6 figures. Yes, I was able to, not work so hard and just to really put a strain on my body so much. But being able to also make clients happy, like that is the main reason we are all in this. I think you would probably agree that is the main reason why we got into this industry. So let me know if you agree in the comment section below. So one of the questions that I also get asked a lot around just specializing in lived-in color is, did you get bored? Like, there may be some stylists out here watching this that are just like, well, I like to do everything. I'm gonna get bored if I just drop all my other services and just do this all day. For me, I did not get bored at all. Now, I see how it's possible to get bored, but for me, it was a really strong passion. So I would say if it's a strong passion for you, you're probably not going to get bored, especially once you're finally immersed in specializing. You're gonna realize, oh my gosh, this is so much better. But the reason I didn't get bored is because there is so much under the umbrella of lived-in color that it really does force you to challenge yourself to get better and better, because you're going so deep into one subject. You have to have such a high level of knowledge in order to specialize. You have to go really, really deep into so many different subjects. For example, there are people who come in with all different types of scenarios. You have to try to get them from that scenario to the lived-in color result. So this could be a huge transformation that may include gray coverage, that may include, different color correction techniques. That's going to include a bunch of techniques. So you really are doing a lot, even if you're just specializing in lived-in color. You kind of have to know how to hit those results from all of these different angles. But the common denominator with lived-in color is just kind of sticking with timeless, natural, blended results. That can mean so many tones. It can mean blondes, it can mean brunettes, it can mean reds. But that common denominator of just timeless beauty, blended, natural result, that's really the aim. And of course, you can tackle it from so many different starting points. So you really do keep yourself challenged by choosing to specialize. And when you specialize like this, because you have such a deep foundational knowledge in what you're doing, because you have to know all the tiny little details of every single look, it carries you through other things too. So if trends change And, maybe the face framing is different now and people are doing less of like an ombre look or something like that. If the trends change, it's still under the umbrella of lived-in color, but your foundational knowledge and your skills from just specializing will carry you through. You won't feel like you need to take a separate class every time a trend changes. And that's one of the really amazing benefits of specializing as well. You have the freedom to just go really, really deep on a topic and know that anytime something changes, you have such a deep understanding, you can adapt very easily. I know the other question that you're probably asking yourself right now is, well, Lauren, when you started doing this, did you lose a bunch of clients? And the answer is yes. I probably had about a third or less of the clients that I used to have when I was just doing back-to-back quick services all day long. But here's the thing, they were paying more, a lot more. So I didn't really need the same amount of clients as I did when I was doing those back-to-back services all day long. And the reason is not because I was price gouging clients or because I was just charging unreasonable prices, which a lot of people, when they see my prices, they're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But if you think about all the services that I'm actually getting done in one service, that is the reason why you only need to take a few clients in a day. I'm doing toning, I'm doing teasy lights, I'm doing baby lights, I'm doing blonding services, I'm doing sometimes platinum card in some areas. I'm doing so many different techniques in one service. And the benefit to the client is that, with balayage services, it used to be just like, okay, you want to be really blonde? Well, it's going to take you multiple services to get you to that blonde. But in between that time, they may get over their end result. So something that's so great about doing lived-in color and doing like a bunch of services in one and just taking that time that you need with one client is, first of all, you get to develop such a close relationship with them. You get to develop a fun rapport with them because you guys are kind of doing this project together for so long and having to kind of change your energy for each person all day long. And then the second benefit is, of course, one client is all you need to take the place of multiple clients. So instead of having to market to so many different people, you just have to focus on getting a few really key clients in your chair because they are doing so many services in one visit. So yes, a lot of people are going to be turned off by the prices. They're going to be like, what? Oh my gosh, like I've never paid this much for highlights. This is insane. But there's so many people that once they've seen other hairstylists and haven't gotten the results that they wanted, there is a specific subset of clients who are going to see what you offer and be like, this is exactly what I was looking for. This person actually cares about the details. They are actually able to achieve the results that I've been trying to get. I'm willing to pay more, especially if it means the maintenance is 10 times better. So there's a subset of people who will trade their time and money up front so that they can enjoy their look a lot longer. And when I started doing it, it was a lot less common, but now it's lots of people are doing it, so it's not even as uncommon anymore. So that's a huge benefit if you are thinking about doing it as well. Now, there's something that I want to say to you watching this specifically. If you feel like you are too slow at something, if you feel like you're constantly being rushed, a lot of people in this industry will tell you like, time is money, you need to be really quick in order to make more money. But that is a completely different model than what I'm suggesting. And I think that that model that may make you a lot of money, it does. It makes people a lot of money, just going as fast as you can and making sure that your services are very short so that you can get in more clients. Like, obviously that's going to make people more money, but you are actually able to make more money without having to do that. So if you're someone who doesn't like feeling rushed all the time and making sure your day is perfectly managed so that you can get to the next one, one of your clients has an issue that they're dealing with and you're spending a little bit more time, but you're just thinking about, oh my gosh, I have another client coming in, now I want to be late. Those things, they stress me out so much. If you're constantly dealing with that all day long, it's just not that fun. It can really be a drain on you. So I would just want you to know that if you specialize and if you just take the time that's needed to achieve the specific end result, you're going to be able to make people much happier. They're going to feel like you actually care about them as a person and you're just paying attention to all the details. And that is something that makes you indispensable. It makes you somebody that can't be replaced so easily. And I think that's one of the things that makes you actually enjoy your career for years to come. Now, if you're wanting to learn exactly what it takes to become a lived-in color specialist, I want you to watch the video on the screen right here. I am going to share with you everything that you need to do in order to get this accomplished really quickly. It doesn't have to take years. It can take, a matter of months if you just really dedicate yourself. So watch that video on the screen right here. My name's Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you guys, and I'll see you over there.